This is Galen at Ski Travel Guides, where our mission is to educate and stoke you up about skiing and riding. Today we're talking about the top 10 most extreme and challenging ski areas in North America. Coming in at number 10 is Big Sky, Montana. So Big Sky has the infamous Big Couloir, and if it wasn't for Lone Peak, I would say Big Sky might not be on this list, but Lone Peak does exist, and Lone Peak is everything. It is so freaking rad. You have to have a beacon shovel probe to even get on the lift, and it's 300 degrees of skiing off of this incredible peak. This is one of like the peaks. I feel like, Lone Peak and the Lonely Mountain and the Hobbit are like one of the same. So like what they call it in Big Sky, they don't call it snow. They don't call it powder. They call it cold smoke. So what's great about cold smoke is it is the lightest snow you'll ever ski, but that comes with sinking right through the bottom and not being able to see what we call snow snakes, rocks that come up, rip your skis off, or damage your board. So really heads up, skiing needs to happen at Big Sky. So recommend find a local, see where they're skiing. The snow will blow, and every day will actually be a different day depending on the winds. So, find a local, see where they're skiing, and that's how you get the fresh. That's a little side tip there. Okay, coming in at number 9, Alyeska, Alaska. So Alyeska is the top ski resort in Alaska by far. There's a few other resorts, but it is like by far the quintessential ski resort in Alaska. If you're not hella skiing or cat skiing or climbing, missions out there, you're gonna want to ski Alyeska, and you're going to want to take the tram, and it's going to be sick. I spent a year out there a long time ago in a galaxy far away, and it wasn't even worth getting out of bed if it didn't snow 10 to 12 inches. Like, there's 650 inches annually on average. You can have big years, 800-900 inch years aren't unheard of there. It is like seriously the Shangri-La of skiing. Alaska is the Shangri-La of skiing in North America. It really is. It's special. So with the tram, and this tram is one of the top 3 trams in the country. I think that there's an argument for it to be the number 2 tram, the second best tram in all of North America. It's sick. You can get 2,000 feet of fall line, constant pitch, vertical terrain. Alyeska, their marketing department talks about how it's the longest, double black terrain in North America and all that stuff. It is really awesome. It's worth it. You have Christmas shoot, New Year's shoot, and some really cool hike-to terrain that rarely opens. If you haven't been to Alaska, and maybe you get some cat skiing in the Julik Powder Guides is based right there in Girdwood also. Maybe you can get a little heli-ski trip and Alyeska combo back-to-back punch. So for all the single guys out there that don't need to come back to their families, do that now. Just go, do that now. Number 8, we're going with Crested, Butte, Colorado. Crested Butte, small mining town, very similar to Telluride in a lot of ways. And I think that people are like, hey, why would you not choose Telluride? Why are you choosing Crested Butte over Telluride? That's a great question. And I think that it requires more skiing to make sure that you can differentiate that yourself. So go ski them both, and you can see why we chose Crested Butte as number 8 in North America. 61% of Crested Butte trails are rated expert terrain. Crested Butte's awesome. Love the town. The town's just everything you'd want in a ski town. And number 7, Revelstoke, Revy. Revelstoke could be higher on this list, could be lower on this list. It depends on how you think about it. So Revelstoke has 5,620 feet of vertical. It is the highest mountain from bottom to top to bottom in terms of vertical descent in all of North America. That's something, right? Now, I have the same issue with Revelstoke as I do Whistler, and it's awesome. Revelstoke is freaking awesome, one of my favorite resorts anywhere. But I don't think, and this, people will challenge us, but I don't think that Whistler or Revelstoke really deserve the vertical that they advertise. It's sort of like, okay, we're going to go ski 5,620 vertical feet, but only 3,000 of them are going to be good. which is still awesome. You know, maybe 3,500, but when you get down to those lower 2,000 feet, and Whistler's the same way, you're not skiing good ski. It's not good. You know, it's not like Europe where you're skiing like all the way down to the train and it's just like mind-blowing terrain. No, the very bottom is like it's really something to be desired. I mean, if you've skied there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That said, it is still freaking awesome. It sends. It is just everything you'd want it to be. You will not be disappointed going to Revy. Revy absolutely kicks ass. So coming in after Revy is Whistler. So I'm going to pick Whistler over Revy for extreme and expert terrain just because the Whistler side country is... it blew my mind a couple of years ago going over to Blackcomb Glacier on the Blackcomb side and then seeing all these skiers and locals like traversing over into the wilderness, like to Garibaldi. I was like, oh my God, this is more than I could have ever dreamed about. Like the backcountry access to Whistler, I feel like is so underrated, and maybe some locals are gonna be like, hey, don't tell anyone. But you could ski Whistler even inbounds an entire season and never get bored. It is so massive and so much fun. And then on the Whistler side, you have Peak Chair. It's just like a world famous chair, you know, with Air Jordan coming in, where you can everyone in line can see it. It kind of like reminds you of like the Palisades Squallywood type vibe, where it's Yahoos on a powder day.
And this is the way to get fresh tracks all day, every day, is to take the upper Peak to Creek. It's a blue run, and it basically takes you on the ridgeline. It's a long 5-burner. But you take that for a little ways, and then you can kind of look down and then pick out your run, and then you end up all the way at the base of the creek side. So that's the Peak Chair, and let's go ski it.
It is so much fun. You have Harmony, you have Symphony, you have Flute Bowl, which is more high-speed terrain, which is not necessarily extreme.
Flute. This is the flute area. So you have Flute, Symphony lift, and the next lift over is a 6-pack called Harmony. I really like the whole musical theme myself. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hike up here, and then you'll see me skiing down that nose. And this is 2 days after a storm, and you can see the skiing is tremendous. So this is my insider tip, Flute Bowl. All right.
Whistler is the real freaking deal. You could spend your whole life skiing that mountain and never ski anywhere else, and you would be skiing some of the best skiing in the world. Yes, Whistler is everything you want it to be and more. However, the caveat is the last 1,500, 2,000 feet, it's like you're just skiing a groomer. I mean, you could be skiing the east for all I care. The last quarter of Whistler and Revelstoke, you're going and skiing the east. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that could be considered extreme terrain with the boiler ice. Not to throw all you East Coasters under the bus because you guys slay the ice and like mad respect. I can't ski that, but yeah, I mean, like let's be honest, it's not the best skiing. Let's just move on. At number 5, you've got Kickinghorse. Kickinghorse in Canada. It is. We're going to rank it above Whistler. We're going to rank it above Revelstoke for expert terrain. The Freeride World Tour is there. They have over 85 chutes, 5 bowls of free skiing powder, and 4,000 vertical feet. There's a reason why the Freeride World Tour stops through it. I mean, it is freaking awesome. No one goes there. And maybe the downside with Kickinghorse would just be snow quality. They don't get as much snow as Revy or Whistler. So just something to keep your eye on in terms of just how much snow they get. So coming in, number 4, Snowbird. And I love Snowbird. I could even put Snowbird like top 2, honestly, if I really wanted to put it top 2. But Snowbird is not top 2 just because I think it runs into some challenges with crowds on weekends, and a lot of the really good terrain is somewhat hiked to versus just right there off the lift. However, it is so good. It is so freaking good. And I think that I'm going to get some flack for not having Alta on this list, but I think Snowbird is just like where it is. Sorry. I know there's snowboarders there, Alta people, but it is so freaking awesome. And come on, snowboarders are brothers and sisters too. So we're all sliding on snow. Let's get over it. Let's let snowboarders free Alta. I'm going to get flack for that one too, but whatever. I feel it. So, okay. Snowbird, Big Couloir, one of the most iconic runs in North America. Living the dream, Peruvian Gulch. I love the tram. People are like, why do you like the Snowbird tram? Well, because I love a good tram. I love just going to the top of the mountain from the bottom, having 4,000 feet of just sending. You know, I don't think that the Snowbird tram is quite 4,000 feet. It would be ranked my third best tram in North America. But I love a good tram. So, yeah, argue with me all you want. I like a good tram. Coming in at number 3 is dear to my heart, Palisades Tahoe. Palisades Tahoe could be number 1, could be off this list. I know it's going to be on the list. Come on. Palisades Tahoe kicks ass. You have every free skier that ever lived hucking off of rocks at Palisades Tahoe. I mean, Palisades Tahoe is like, without Palisades Tahoe, you don't have what skiing is today. So, you know, if you have an argument that Palisades Tahoe isn't a top 3 most extreme expert terrain, then come over here. I will take you skiing and we'll see what you got, because it is that good. You have KT22, you have Silverado, you have Summit Chair that on the Alpine side that has these huge hike through terrain without doing a whole bunch of vert, where it resembles, you know, smaller, less vertical portions of Alaska. So love Palisades Tahoe. You have Shane McConkey, who grew up there, Jeremy Jones, Julie Mancuso, JT Holmes, Johnny Mosley. It's a who's who list of professional skiers and riders and free skiers. So just like check it out. It's worth the trip. Get it on a powder day. It snows a lot. so check it out. Don't ski the weekdays because that's when locals want to ski. Ski a weekend and just wait in line. Have fun there. Okay, moving on. Silverton coming in number 2. Silverton could easily be number 1. However, it's a single chairlift and it's fringe. I almost didn't put it on the list actually because it's guided. So to ski Silverton, you need a guide, and they actually have a lot of helicopter terrain there as well. Which is, if you're looking for helicopter skiing, Silverton's a really great option. If you don't want to splurge on the huge trip to like Alaska or Canada, Silverton's a great option for heli skiing. Yeah, actually, it's more affordable than you might think. So check out Silverton, single lift, ridgeline, hike to, guided, pseudo heli skiing, inbounds terrain. It's still a ski resort, so it makes the list. Everything's extreme, everything's rad, everything's gnar. Go get some. Silverton's rad. It's just the skiing. I think there's like population 10 in Silverton. Do it. So number 1. How does one come up with the number 1 most extreme ski resort? Well, it pretty much isn't a debate. It's Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, or better known as the Big One. It is iconic. It is everything you want it to be, and it has the best tram. You know what? I'm not going to say the world. I'm not going to say the world because Europe is so next level to what we have over here in terms of skiing and trams. But number 1 tram in the country, definitely North America, and Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole. You can go up to the top of the mountain in one lift, 4,000 feet, ski just fall line powder on a good day, cold powder, good snow, not quite as good as Utah, but it's like just right. It's 3 Little Bears. It's not too slushy. It's not too cold like Big Sky. It's just right. And it piles up and you can fire off of cliffs because you get a ton of snow there too. I could go on and on about Jackson Hole. If I were to ski one resort in North America my whole life, Jackson Hole, gosh, I would never leave. I would just go ski Jackson. I could do Jackson. I could live in Jackson. In fact, I tried to talk my wife into moving to Jackson, staying in Jackson. However, we're not living in Jackson, so I can dream of Jackson Hole. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, and we really appreciate you watching and supporting the channel. Let it snow.